Right, we should be on air right now. Let me quickly confirm if everything is okay with sound. But yeah, it is. So yeah, we can start. So hello everybody. My name is Hightech, and well, on this live stream, I talk about what just happened today in the cryptocurrency market. I think about it regarding 11 years of my experience here. So I think you could consider me OG of the space, and the only project I promote on this show is Hightech, which is the meme coin mint address you see here. Which is a meme coin, the mint address you see here in at the bottom part of the screen, and somewhere in between the lines, I'll be explaining why you might be interested. Okay, so let's move on. Let's change the screen and let's see what has happened today. What can we talk about? So first of all, as you see, you probably noticed that the market had a little bit of a dip, slight dip, which I was speculating on before. I said it should happen. We should have a tiny secondary dip. I was, um, wondering if this was it or if this was it, because you never know which one it is until we just leave it far behind. When you look at it happening live. But having seen this one, then I think I will label it that way. This is the secondary, the secondary dip. I was forecasting that is about to happen. This one is much larger than both of these even combined. So let's say it matches the description much better. So am I claiming that this is definitely over and we should go up from here? You never can be absolutely sure, of course, 100% sure until we really have, in a safe distance from here. So far, there's still a risk that we will go a little bit deeper, but to be honest, judging by naked eye, it could be, right? I have I have no shame in telling you what I think, even if I get it wrong from time to time. Oftentimes I get it wrong. Oftentimes I get it right. More or less 50-50. 50-50 split. So that's why, as always, I speak my mind. And I think there's a very decent chance it's all over. Right? We have all of that correction behind, and we should see a slow grind towards the upside, across the board, Bitcoin included. On altcoins today, of course, you also see it reacted. I mean, the altcoin market reacted aggressively as it always does, but that's, let's say, a standard type of its behavior. So no surprise here. Of course, there is some outcasts like ARPA that actually went up. Alice, I don't know what that is, and Shell, this one neither. But I think tomorrow, maybe the day after tomorrow, sometime this week, I'm quite convinced we are going to see very aggressively green colors, probably more towards the end of this week. I always was telling you guys, you should arm yourself in patience, because after such huge drops that we just had on Friday, it's nothing immediate. It's rarely immediate that we just stand back up and then just fly to the moon. That would be very weird on the opposite end of events. So highly likely we are going to pick up speed, step by step, day by day, and then once we are off to the races, then the wheels will be spinning and spitting fire. So that time is not that far off. Like I just mentioned, maybe end of this week, beginning of the next one. Just today, I've seen a video material on YouTube, of course, of Meet Kevin, one of his vlogs, where he talks about Jerome Powell saying that well, the printers they will be officially turning on printers again, right? So that backs up my previous claims that probably this is not the end of the bull, and it will last well well into 2026. There is quite few analysts on the crypto market pointing to how long this bull market has lasted so far on Bitcoin. And like for example, I just watched Johnny Bravo before I started live streaming, and on his last material you can see he shows a chart that measures how long the bear market was lasting. It was like 360 something days, and how long each bull market lasted, and it was like 1060 days. But the main problem I have with that chart is that the dollar has lost its stability recent years, right? We never seen dollar printed in the amount it has been printed in recent years. So to great extent, we can say it actually has lost its stability. So that is why, previous conditions of previous cycles were way more stable than what we are dealing with right now, because the US dollar is facing a challenge from the Eastern Bloc, let's say, from BRICS countries, from BRICS countries side. So that is why I don't really think we can compare these conditions now with previous cycles. They always warn you from saying, this is popular for retail, right? Especially for retail investors, individual investors, to believe that this time is different. Hence, you should be doing something different than last time. And that's like a famous quote, famous saying. But markets love to repeat certain pattern just to completely break it once a blue moon. Why? Because they build up conviction in certain scheme, just to murder you with cold blood, right? At some point. And you can observe it practically, let's say, on every single chart, every single price chart. You can spot repeating patterns. Market does it very often, very, very often. On every single time frame, you can spot it. Like market does something 3, 4 times, 5 times, and then sixth does something different, and then it comes back in within within some short time to show you the same patterns, repeats them, several more times again, and then at some point stops, and then again does something different. So that's definitely not anything people that have let's say a lot of experience, a lot of time in this space. This is nothing new to them, right? There's nothing. I'm not saying anything new here. Anybody who has a multi year experience in trading knows what I'm talking about here is 100% true. So I expect it to happen. This is the same, let's say, market behavior I expect to show up this cycle, because we are actually about to see a total revolution. You name it, in the way global finance works. from its foundation. Because if we switch from the banking, I mean, when we switch, actually, not if, when we switch from the banking system to stablecoins, we are in a completely new reality. Like literally, it's day and night. It's a completely different game from now on. So that's why we already know it is coming. It actually has been announced. It is coming. So how can you expect things will stay exactly the same when the change is so big? I mean, even if it stabilizes later on, certain, let's say, forces of economics make same thing happen as before. In the transition period, it will be a chaos. It will be quite a mess. I think it is very reasonable. Um, it I mean, it's very reasonable to expect it. So yeah, so for now, for this cycle, forget completely about what was going on previous cycles. Completely, neglect all of those, I don't know, models or measurements people are showing you. I think it's going to be one of the nastiest trick seen for the first time in quite a while when it comes to uh, you know charts and markets and general, the trading game. So yeah, so far, what I actually like what I'm seeing here is quite likely tomorrow we will see, let's say, continuation of this bounce, which of course will convert into a recovery of this drop. On traditional market, I've seen today's trading session wasn't that bad. I mean, we opened quite low. We opened quite low, but later we pumped to levels seen on Monday, and we actually stayed there. As you see, we closed there, right? And this is what I marked here, that we literally closed in the same price cluster, which is a good sign in my opinion. And I think this is showing we are not really going anywhere, because if we consider, for example, this last few weeks, right? We actually, for the most of the time, the bigger part, we were literally in this range. We went above just for a short time, and later we came back. But we did not fall out of it, right? We did not fall out of it. So I understand it as a strength, as market strength. And when we join it with Jerome Powell's announcement, what they're about to do, it all makes perfect sense. To be honest, why market did not follow that correction path. So yeah, and Bitcoin dominance, of course, as well, is having a little bit of a breather today. When we go over to the daily candle, as you see, today's was green, but not overly bullish green, which of course we want to stay like that, and that is what we are getting. Today's daily candle probably will be red. I don't really see it closing green too. I mean, in my time zone is Wednesday already, and in UTC time, for 27 minutes already, 28 minutes. And Wednesday usually is not a pivotal day. Is not a day when big things happen. So probably it will be just slightly bullish because of Friday. Because of how big of an event it was, how huge a transition of capital happened there, and that, of course, must have at least a slight effect on the markets, even on those easy days. So I expect today to close here, of course, slightly red, and Bitcoin and many altcoins at least slightly green. And we'll see if I get it right, and maybe even more towards the daily close. It will be, looking more and more bullish, because Thursdays are those days that decide where the market is about to go. Recently, that has been true so many weeks back, and I mean, we cannot get a red Thursday now. I can't imagine. I can't imagine we are getting red Thursday unless we get red Thursday. And again, those that have also observed that pattern, that whenever Thursday is red, the rest of the week must be red, unless market does a trick on everybody, right? Tricks everybody that Thursday will close red, but this time around, the rest of the week will be absolutely amazing. And again, people will get everybody and their mother that were betting, on shorting the market will get liquidated. So I let's say, how to say it, I imagine it is a possibility. I imagine it is. I allow that possibility, in my mind. I definitely would not neglect it. So yeah, let's go over to other chart. Let's take a look how things are painted there. Actually, here. So yeah, so far so good. This one now gives me a vibe that maybe we have a retest, and then we go up that. This is on the daily, right? So that would mean that either today's will be a little bit red, at least slightly red, or even somewhat strongly red. Thursday would be slightly bullish, and Friday very bullish eventually. We'll see, but that's not necessary. Maybe we'll stop it right there. Maybe it will close like this, maybe even slightly green, and then tomorrow will be hugely bullish. The worst case scenario, I see it like this, but this is the worst case scenario, right? And I'm talking about candle bodies, not weeks, not the weeks. So after we remove all of the noise, I do not imagine this market to follow with this correction, to have a second correction. But remember, if it happens, I will not suffer it because my trading is fully automated. I never, exercise anything manually. All of my trading is handled in a fully automatic manner. So that's a huge difference between me and most of you guys. So have it in mind. But yeah, judging by my experience, judging by how many times I've seen many different things, many market crashes, many recoveries, sometimes even market crashes without recoveries. Like for example, on Mantra coin, really, really disappointed their investors. Actually, I'll show it to you later on what I mean exactly. But yeah, just judging by my experience, we must go up, right? We must have a bull market. We must have a bull market. Otherwise, that would mean something was very, very broken in here. At least temporarily, right? Because it's not like anyone can print whatever amount of tokens that are composing this chart. So even if most of them are still not nicely redistributed, which, like I said, I give it very low probabilities. That means, yeah, we could get a second very deep crash, but after that, like it is literally mathematically impossible. We do not really. But again, second big crash right now is extremely unlikely. I mean, everything is possible, but that is literally extremely unlikely. I think you should be more worried about some bricks, falling from the sky straight on your head, rather than this market having a second dip like we just saw on Friday. So it must be extremely oversold. There is no other way. I mean, you cannot really be 100% sure, what is the real saturation point of market. I mean, how much it is oversold or overbought. Nobody really has that data, especially with quite with somewhat high level of certainty of accuracy. Some systems can estimate it to quite comfortable extent, but just judging by what happened, I don't see any other way. I mean, it must be hugely oversold, right? The concentration of capital in strong hands must be a record high. I mean, this was the largest liquidation event in crypto's history. So, I mean, what else do you expect? Allow me to quickly take a look at Rumble Studio. And if anyone is watching live, of course, don't be shy. Ask questions if you've got any, or just write hi. I was planning to live stream twice today, but my internet connection literally went off for like 6 hours. So right now it's very late, at my time zone it's 3:35 a.m. So that's why I'm a little bit slow at times. But I still wanted to make this live stream, to make justice today. And I hate when the job is not done. And let me remind you guys the main reason why I'm live streaming here, and that is because of the sponsor of the channel, which is Hightech Meme Coin, of course. And this is the only project I promote. You will not see me promoting any other project, meaning that indirectly this translates to a stock of my social media, right? So if you, for example, like the format I run this show in, then and forecast, like, let's say, much greater popularity of my YouTube channel, or I don't know, my Rumble channel, my social media, and then you can in indirect way invest in it. So it's kind of interesting approach to this kind of things. I don't think anybody has tried to do it like I'm trying. So yeah, so I think you can easily risk like $1, $2, $3. Even if I'm wrong and everything goes to hell, then at least you will not be suffering huge losses, right? But if I'm right, then you probably will get yourself some quite cool toy for that $1 or $2 investment. I don't know, a new phone, maybe a new laptop or something like that at some point in, I don't know, 1 year, 2 year, 2 years, 3 years. I do not expect it to happen overnight, right? So that one, please do not invest if that's your idea of how it's going to play out, because probably it won't it won't play out like that. Okay, so yeah, I'm leaning. I remain with my bullish leaning. The fact that we just had a Black Swan event, when we compare it to other Black Swan events, like for example the COVID crash, I have a very hard time believing it's not going to give us the real altcoin season. And when we join it with what is going on, when we conjoin it with what is going on in global TradFi, now Jerome Powell, right, talking about turning on printers. When we talk about how TradFi already works on transferring their trading to stablecoins, there is literally zero way this market will not go up. It's just impossible. It's literally impossible. This market will not go up. Even if we already topped out on Bitcoin, which is also unlikely. It's very unlikely. If that's it, with let's say Bitcoin reserve narrative, my God, that will be embarrassing, to be honest. Not even disappointing, embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing. So I'm like literally 99.99%, 999% sure this bull market across the board, Bitcoin included, will last at least until the end of 2026. Because again, dollar is losing its stability. This is not the same asset we were trading against in previous cycles. This is a completely different situation. And again, you can check if anybody does not believe me, can check it. I mean, how much the US dollar was printed last 4 years? Immense amounts, abysmal amounts, record-breaking amounts. Like that should not, let's say, be subjected to any discussion. Okay, let's take a look at those things we usually inspect. So, like for example, crypto fear and greed index. We are just 40 minutes in this new day, so we have a very fresh read of what was the sentiment last 24 hours practically. So 37, so we are at fear level, right? So that's great. That's absolutely great. So that again, that makes any corrections from here even less likely, right? Altcoin season index 33, also very low. What about ETFs inflows, outflows? So okay, we still see outflows, almost $755 million outflows. But this one was for 13. So this one was for, okay, so this one was from Monday. No, for, so it's 10th, yeah, this one was for Monday, okay. So we don't have the read for Tuesday yet. Okay. But quite big, but compared against how big inflows, how huge inflows we had prior to that, it was, doing very well. Bitcoin ETFs, Ethereum ETFs, sales were doing very well. So I wouldn't be overly worried about what Monday gave us, to be honest. And remember, those are not BlackRock selling Fidelities, Vanex, Vanguards, and so on. Absolutely not. Those are their customers selling, because on X, crypto X, and they always serve you that this data with a commentary that this is BlackRock themselves, or this is, I don't know, Fidelity themselves. No, absolutely not. This is not how it works. BlackRock themselves, they don't, and those big fund managers themselves, they practically do not invest, almost don't invest in Bitcoin. They have like, a couple of funds where they have a little bit of exposure to Bitcoin, and that's it. To my orientation. So that's not them. So it's good to remember about it, because people tend to forget about it very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. Yeah, okay. Anything else? Okay, let's take a look at liquidations. So when we revise 2-week context, as you see, we still see the majority of liquidity hovering above all-time high, so that gives me impression this must be an organic liquidity, because that's what usually retail does, or even the fund managers, those, let's say, less specialized, and they also oftentimes bet on shorting all-time highs. So that's why I expect price to march there, not in 2 or 3 hoops, but slowly, step by step, and accelerating, right? Accelerating every single day towards the end of this week, and then the next week, which is going to be second half of October. And let me remind you that, generally speaking, October is named a very bullish month, and it has the best statistics from, I think, from all of the months in a year, thanks to second half. Literally, thanks to second half. So if anything super bullish were to happen in October, that would be second half, not first half. And we are about to see second half tomorrow. so, so I think you should be ready. In my humble opinion, I think you should get ready. And like I said, even though right now it does not look like it that much. So yeah, I say I don't have the best frequency today on all of the platforms. There is 6 people watching on X, one person watching on Rumble, and one person watching on Twitch. So not the not the biggest crowd ever, but maybe because of the hour. Yeah, tomorrow, hopefully, if I don't get my ISP, doing some weird stuff like today, then I will do at least 2 live streams, maybe even 3. So that's one of them. One of them I will get a little bit more of public, probably. Okay, let's take a look at what we've got on next today. So Carab.soul says, Justin Coinbase specialist calls out Binance predatory listing requirements, $2.5 million in deposits plus 8% of token supply. Is that aggressive? I don't think so. Calls for legal intervention, get refunds of Binance immediately. I wouldn't call it that aggressive, to be honest. I mean, considering they are the biggest exchange in the world by far margin, and of course they don't want coins with low liquidity. They don't want coins that will end up as pump and dumps, and will damage their reputation. So they build some walls around, right, that can be overcome only by really solid brands. That does make sense, from their side. I don't think it has to be something, let's say, malicious with bad intent. Binance was solely responsible for flash crash from faulty internal price oracles that resulted in $400 billion liquidations, get refunds of Binance. I would be really far from opinions like that. Because first of all, what was the grain of the situation? That wasn't the Binance themselves. Those were regulators. Regulators forced Binance, Bybit, and OKEx to certain changes in the futures trading policies. And because they had to apply those changes, most of the people probably completely didn't read what are those changes for. They completely didn't change their positions, and once the market started moving, it just literally, how felt like domino. I mean, of course, they could have handled it much better than they did, but it's not like when you run like a business like them, you will be ready for 100% of the time. You know, once a decade, and let me remind you, this is something that has happened for the first time in a decade, because this is more or less the age of the we could say this is the age of the altcoin market. So I don't think this is something out of possibilities of understanding of comprehension. They have literally way over 200 million users, right? And traffic like that, let me tell you, is not easy to guide, right? It's not easy to manage. They are still doing an amazing job, absolutely amazing job. And yeah, if you don't want to lose your money, just learn from your mistake, Friday mistake, and avoid leverage. I mean, you were not probably making money there anyway. If you were making some money, then that was temporal only. So learn from it. Coin Bureau just in Japan to ban cryptocurrency insider trading under new regulations, according to Nikkei. Insider trading cannot be really banned. It's impossible. There is hundreds of ways of circumventing whatever regulations when it comes to trading. So no, it will never be fully erased. You just must strategize it in. Cointelegraph. New Congressman Troy Downing introduces a bill to codify Trump's executive order allowing cryptocurrencies and alternative assets to be included in 401k's retirement accounts. Okay, that's cool. Breaking. Wintermute was 9 hours ago. Wintermute just sent millions in stablecoins to exchanges. This isn't random. Last time they did, Bitcoin pumped 15% and hit a new all-time high, positioning for a deep buy or something bigger. I mean, a deep after what we've seen, no, highly unlikely. I, I don't really think we will see, you know, one more big dip. I mean, averages probably are waiting. I mean, even those that are leaning slightly bullish side, as I know them, they probably still thinking, yeah, there must be this one last, because they didn't catch it, right? They didn't catch it, the first one, so now they try to convince themselves there will be the one last one last dip, but it's the more we are waiting and it's not happening, the more increasingly it's improbable. Breaking. That was 6 hours ago. With 327,000 Bitcoin, the United States government is now the second largest holder in the world. That's not, no, that's something. But do they own really that much? Is it, I mean, where is the source? How much they own? I don't think the exact number is known. Okay, this one we've seen already. But how long have I been live streaming now? Okay, 39 minutes, so it's not that bad. I don't want to make it overly long. Now I'm waking up a little bit. I was slightly sleepy when I started. It's because the caffeine is kicking in. I drank a coffee literally a minute before I started. Jack Dorsey, the US dollar gets less and less valuable every day as they print more and more money. You can't do that with Bitcoin. Yeah, that's true. but Bitcoin has certain, let's say, limitations, certain limits that are a little bit problematic. And that is why sooner or later something better will come. When exactly? Well, we'll see. It can take its time. It can happen fairly quickly, and it can also take its time on the way here. So nobody really knows. The U.S. central bank just said it may stop shrinking its balance sheet in the months ahead. Money printer is coming. Yeah, this is what I said. That's exactly what I said. Let's ask Grok about it. Fed Chair Jerome Powell stated today, that the Federal Reserve may pause quantitative tightening, shrinking its $7.2 trillion balance sheet in coming months, potentially freeing up liquidity by halting unreinvested bond maturities. Historical data shows strong correlation between Fed balance sheet expansions and Bitcoin rallies, as in 2020 when QE drove BTC from 10,000 to 69,000 amid global liquidity surges. Yeah, so as I said, it would be very, very weird. This is the top for Bitcoin, and I don't believe it. It doesn't feel like it. Fundamentally speaking, it doesn't feel like it from the standpoint of what happened on Friday. It makes zero sense in that dimension. Let's say trending Bitcoin. Jim Cramer says American Bitcoin investors could potentially lose everything. So we've got another confirmation that yeah we are fine. We are going to be fine, perfectly fine. We are going up. This guy always gets things, exactly the opposite. I'm going to bookmark it. Over the last 7 days, majors outperformed while altcoins remained subdued, indicating that capital continues to consolidate around large cap assets. Bro, not anymore. Not anymore, because the same players just collected shat tons of those smaller assets, and they are not going to let it go anytime soon. So that creates a supply shock. So magically, we just literally have the same force on mid caps and small caps that is driving Bitcoin for so long. Crypto goes only a 15% chance of US tariffs on China by November 1st. Super bullish. Okay. All right. That was 18 hours ago. Has it changed? Okay. Let's ask Grok to confirm it. Grok definitely comes in handy if you're unsure, if certain post is actually up to date, or maybe something has changed since its creation. The post references a polymarket prediction market indicating a mere 15% probability, blah blah blah. This based on charts showing declining trade sentiment. This low tariff risk eases fears of escalated US-China trade tensions, which could disrupt globally supply chains and dampen risk assets like cryptocurrencies, positioning it as a bullish signal for Bitcoin-related markets. There you go. Recent developments, including President Trump's Truth Social announcement of potential tariffs and the USTR statements tying implementations to Beijing's actions, explain the market skepticism and volume of 188,000 833 in bets. Okay. So yeah, there you go. There you go. We still might get, we still might get a second dump, especially in TradFi in the mid-November. And that would, of course, cause a correction in the crypto market too. And who knows, maybe then people, I mean, some of some of traders, some of market analysts will be much more louder, screaming about the end of the cycle. But I'm highly convinced it will still not be the end of the cycle because of all of those things we just read. So yeah, it will have its strong after effect. And like I keep saying, the shift of TradFi from the banking system to stablecoins, that's the biggest elephant in the room. That that has the biggest implications of them all. I mean, of all of those stories, right? That story is the biggest to us. Okay. All right, guys. Allow me to wrap it up. I don't want to. I don't want to be boring. Yeah, on Twitch, some scammer just posted something. Yeah, they keep doing that, and I don't know. They are always on Twitch. Nowhere else. I get those comments only from Twitch. So yeah, probably it's not a good idea to even click or I don't know, visit those websites. So avoid it if you see it somewhere. And yeah, okay, guys. So get yourself a little bit of high tech before it moons. It has very easy to moon because this is a very low liquidity market, very low number of market participants. So don't be surprised if I don't know in few months from now you'll see it at a couple of Ks. I think it is well within the realm of possibilities. So you will find a tutorial about how to actually get it in the description section of this live stream if you watch it on Rumble on YouTube. I created a tutorial about it. It's actually fairly easy. And yeah, share, like, and subscribe. And thank you for your time. And I'll see you sometime soon. Cheers, guys.